Hi, I'm Jill Keeler. I'm the founder of Freeland Spirits in Portland, Oregon. Freeland Spirits is an all-women owned and operated distillery in Portland. We're making gin and bourbon. This tasting room that we're in right now has now been open for 2 years. Less than 2% of distilleries are owned by women. There are a lot of husband and wife teams. Here we're genuinely owned by women and distilled by women, which is we're really proud of. Molly, who's our master distiller, has a master's in distilling from Scotland, so she's a true pro. I like to mention that it's really important from a science perspective too. Women actually have more olfactory cells, more taste buds. So because men have always been running production, it's almost like there's this whole palate that doesn't exist in the world because women haven't been involved, and they have all of these actual sensory components to add to the process, which I think is super interesting and exciting. Background is in food and agriculture. I was running a nonprofit educational farm for 7 years where kids would go to learn where good food comes from, which may not seem like the most obvious segue into starting a distillery. But I have a rancher friend. She's out in Eastern Oregon, and whenever she comes to town, we drink whiskey together. And it was a fateful whiskey drinking night where we were thinking, like, you think of the terroir with wine, but not necessarily with your spirits. And so we were really thinking, like, this is a delicious whiskey, but where do the grains come from? And like, we don't know that story. So she'd always wanted to incorporate small-scale grain production on her ranch, and she was like, I'll grow it if you make it, and that was the birth of Freeland. So to me, every bottle that we produce here is an agricultural product. We really celebrate the best that the Northwest has to offer, and it's a real celebration. It's a celebration of our farmers and ranchers throughout the state. I drive a Mercedes.
No, just like that.